Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Capstone presentations for the IDN program. It is Sunday, August 4th, and tonight we have three presenters who will be showing their capstone projects for the summer 2019 capstone. And the first student who will be presenting is Kristen, I'm going to butcher your last name, Calzadia? Maybe I'll let you say it. Okay. All right, so I will turn things over to Kristen.
Okay, awesome. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, awesome. I am in a hotel, so glad to know the audio works and the Wi-Fi is working here. Okay, I'm gonna share with you guys. Okay. And here is this is the home screen for my website. I hope you guys can all see this. So the premise behind the educational resource I created was a reading website primarily directed for grades K and 1. Coming from a parent who has an extensive educational background, but I didn't know where to get resources for my own child. So this is kind of where this came from. So I really focused on the lower elementary for the kids, and I kind of played around a lot with the look of the website, and I kept coming back to very clean, precise look. I didn't want to add too much color. I didn't want it to look like they want their kids to, I'm not looking for the kindergartner to log in or the first grader to log in. I'm looking for professional, most likely professional parents who are very, very busy. They want a one-stop shop where they can get the stuff to supplement what's happening at school. That's kind of the whole premise. I kind of made it for myself almost, and some, people in very similar situations. That's kind of the idea came from. And when I started looking around, I had a lot of problems finding things in one place to kind of meet the need that I was looking for. So this is the home page, and you'll notice that I had the tab run across the top in all of the pages, which I know we're all a fan of, and avoiding as many backclicks as we possibly can. The homepage has a quick overview of what the program is, the reading program, just reiterating that it is research-based practice, which I think is important when we're looking for things to offer for our children specifically. A little background about myself, which kind of where my background is and how I found resources that were usable and research-based, and then the mission of what our website is, just an overview for parents. I think if we overwhelm with too much information right off the bat, we might lose them. The second tab is the How It Works tab, which just kind of breaks down what the expectation is. So it kind of lists what the activities are that the parents will kind of follow, and it tells them that they're going to do a reading practice on the grade level that their child is on. So whether it's grade K or grade 1, that's where they're going to start. They're going to do a fluency practice, which is a 1-minute timed reading. It gives an overview of that. And then they're going to do some phonics. And again, it kind of reiterates to start where your child is. So if you have a first grader, you're going to go to the first grade tab before you do and work on phonics first grade, fluency in first grade. So you're going to start with phonics first. Little slow. Okay, it gives an overview of exactly what phonics is and why it's important, and why this is important to reading development. We have phonics lesson 1 for grade K, and then we have phonics lesson 1 for grade 1. So if I was a first grade parent, I would come in and click on this, and it says this document is a PowerPoint. Feel free to print and replicate the audio or use the PowerPoint itself. So when you click on it, it opens in another window. It opens a PowerPoint. I'm not sure if you guys are able to see that or not. I don't know if you can see the PowerPoint, or you can, but it opens a PowerPoint, and it has a phonics activity with an audio, and the audio actually gives directions. So it will tell the parent, write the letter A underneath the word that you hear the sounds ah, and it gives directions, so the parents can actually, just like it says in the directions, replicate it, or they can provide it for their child as it is if they want to do the instruction online, which I think some parents also like to do as well. Next, they'll move to the fluency piece, which again is set up the same exact way. It gives you what fluency is. It's a 1-minute timed reading, why fluency is important. We have our grade K fluency practice, and then additional extra passages. So once they do that first one, the additional passages gives them a whole list of additional on grade level passages. This one, you click the first one, and it opens in a separate tab, so they don't have to click the back button, which I think is important. Gives you the 1-minute timed reading, and then underneath, this is a chart that they can print out and fill in as they go through each week. So you could print out a couple of these, have your child color them in, and just kind of graph where they're going and as their fluency moves while they're practicing. So that's the fluency piece. And then the grade K practice is a little bit separate because there'll probably be a lot of lessons. The lessons are going to change each week. So you'll see this is lesson 1, part 1. You would come in next week and it would say lesson.
Everybody still there?
Yeah, I just lost Kristen's audio.
Okay.
She's in a hotel room, so I knew that
Right.
her connection was going to be questionable.
Spotty.
Yep.
It was going so great.
I know. It was. Let's see if we try to chat. I don't know if she can hear us or not, but
Right. I was going to see if she in the chat.
yeah, I'm going to try that. All right, let's see. We lost her feed, so I think she jumped out. Let's give her another minute to see if she can get back in.
Okay.
All right, let's see. We'll give her. Thanks, John. I agree. I think it was very clear. Everything is really well labeled and will be easy for parents to navigate. Let's see. We'll give her one more minute, and if she doesn't come back in, oh, she's back. I see her.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we lost
I
you
hear
for a
now.
second there.
Okay. I'm going to go through this as quick as I can so that if that happens again, I won't lose you guys. Okay, let me get back here. Sorry.
Don't apologize.
Okay.
No, you're good. We
All right.
see it.
So we were trying to move to grade 1. I don't know why it's not moving. There we go. Okay. There we go. We'll run a little slow here, so I'll go through this quickly. Grade 1 is, again, reading resources. It's a combination of practices and skill practice. And you'll see that this one is completely built out. So it gives them a step-by-step direction of what's going to happen when they go into the skill practice. You're going to print lesson 1 reading and lesson 1 practice. You're going to read aloud the story, which in this example is the art lesson with the child, or you can watch the video. And then you're going to complete the activities in lesson 1 practice. So you'll see that this is the practice, again, opens in another page. Okay, and it's a PDF, so they're able to print this too if they did not want to go online, and it has directions on the side, and it is very, very age appropriate, again, research based. That was really, really important when I was building these out. The story looks just like that. Again, it's a PDF, so it's printable, or they can use it online. And this is just the art lesson story, and they're going to read this aloud with their child. Importance with grade 1 and K is modeling. So I provided a read aloud of the story, and you'll hear it. It should play. So the purpose of the read along is so that the modeling takes place and it doesn't fall on the parent if they're not comfortable with doing that. So I just really thought it was really important to add that in for those parents who might not feel comfortable with their read aloud, or if they wanted just some additional support for their child. Each lesson will have, sorry, I had to go back to this page, a part 1 and a part 2. And part 2 is just building on the skills from part 1. They're going to follow the same process. And again, we have another video for the story, The Empty Pot. Each week, the new lessons will be loaded onto the main screens, and then all the lessons will be archived. Under the All Lessons tab, you have the grade K lessons and then the grade 1 lessons. And then the grade 1 lessons actually open up in a Google Doc, Google Drive, so that parents can access them with their ease. They can save them, kind of use them, and they're all labeled. So it'll say lesson 1A, lesson 1B, so the parents can easily access those. And then we have a help site or help tab. Hopefully everything keeps moving here. And I did a welcome video on the help tab, which kind of overviews everything I showed you guys. And then underneath, some additional questions. Why is fluency important? Why is this a big focus on the site? Why is phonics important? Why is it a big focus on the site? And I added 2 additional articles that really provide a lot of good information. And then you just see kind of like what we did tonight. This just gives an overview of the website. So it just really kind of reiterates how to do it, what order to go in, things like that. And I added a contact page. There's multiple ways to contact the site. You can use the contact page and leave a message. There's a Let's Chat tab here. They can open that up and ask questions. And then there's a subscribe form. And specifically in the video, it talks about what they get when they subscribe to the newsletter, how often they'll get it. It talks about an interactive Flipgrid that the parents can participate in, and just fun tips and tricks, and then also interactive pieces for their children as well. So that's pretty much everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed my website.
Yay, thank you, Kristen. Thanks for doing this from a hotel room. I know it's not.
You're welcome. You know, it's hard to be away from the baby for the first time, but I was kind of like, all right, I'm ready to go.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure it's kind of a mixed bag, but
Absolutely.
yeah, so I think your project looked great. I really love the clean design, and I like how you, like you said from the beginning, you designed it. It's really for the parents. And I think that, you know, for me too, as a parent, sometimes I go to things that are for kids but designed for me, it's still kind of has that kiddie feel. So I like the professional, clean feeling of it. And so I feel like I'm sort of treated as an adult, you know, through the design, and everything was clearly labeled, easy to find. I know you made some changes from earlier about the fluency section and labeling what was for kindergarten and first grade, so that was great. And what was the other? I had a question for you. If you were going to try to get this sort of out to people, have you put any thought of how you would do that? I mean, would you start with, you know, people who, parents of kids you're teaching, or would there be other avenues you would take to try to get an audience for it?
I would certainly reach out to my families, and especially families I know that have children, younger children. And of course, my mom's a VPK teacher, so of course I would, you know, have her send that out. We have a whole family of educators, so
Cool.
I feel like I have a pretty good round crew that if this was really something that I wanted to move forward with and publish it online all the time, I think I have a lot of good means of spreading that out into the community. So I think it would, you know, hit the right audience.
Yep. Is this something you've considered that you would actually do? I mean, I know you're just probably just trying to get it done right now, but
I think so. I think, and the more that I add things, I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. I'd like to add this, or I'd like to start like a community where people can come and, you know, I feel like sometimes parents, and especially in positions like mine, where I'm a reading instructor and my daughter is struggling with reading and I didn't know where to go. So I feel like there's a whole group of us that, you know, if they could just come to this one place and be like, okay, that's just the one piece they're missing. So I wanted to make it really user-friendly and comfortable and not feel like, you know, that parent guilt, you don't see it anywhere on that website. And I think that's important too, a lot of times for parents and accessing things. And I want to make it fun. And I think especially the stories that I added, the read alouds are all by famous people. So you can find, there's tons and tons of stories that are that level that have been read aloud by famous people. So I think that's a really nice and interesting touch too that I think parents would really like.
Yeah, it's cool to bring it all together in one place. And I think those read alouds, like you said, for parents who aren't comfortable with that or who maybe don't know they might use videos like that at the beginning, and then from watching it themselves have a better understanding of how they can do their own read aloud. So I think it was a great combination of things, and it allowed people a lot of choice of what they would find personally useful. So thank you. It looked great. Does anyone have any questions or comments? John Ingman said it looks great. It's very clean and easy to navigate, he said in the comments. Anyone else? Questions or comments? No.
I took a lot of feedback from Bethany. Bethany gave me so many good ideas, so I hope
well, thank you.
recognizes.
Yeah,
I hope you recognize some of it.
Yeah, it looks like you implemented a lot of them. I'm glad.
I did. Thank you. It's so good to have
helpful.
another set of eyes kind of looking at things, because what I do, my projects are pretty much, it's my eyes and then my students. So it's really nice to have another set of eyes to look at it. So I really, really appreciate that. And I think that process was helpful for all of us.
Yeah, I think it turned out really well. I'm impressed. I think it's very usable in that, parents of kindergartners and first graders could really use this resource at home with their kids in order to help facilitate.
Right, and I think, yeah, exactly. And I really pushed, and this kind of came to me this week. It's not in place of, it's in support of what they're already doing. And I think that's an important message to get across, that don't replace anything with this, but do this, in conjunction with the instruction that's already should be happening. So
yeah, it's a great way for parents to be able to get involved and
right. Even if it's just a read aloud, right? I mean, we know that that
exactly.
increases reading comprehension. If the children just listen to modeling, that is really important for students.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much, Kristen.
Thank you, guys.
All right. I know, you're done. All right, so next up we have Bethany, and I know I can hear you, so that's good.
Let's see. Let me see if I can get my web camera going. Oh, there I am. Sounds good. And then I have to click the share button.
Yep. And it might ask you a question, I think.
Yeah, okay, yep. Here's share. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
It's coming. It's not here yet. And there it is. You're good.
Great. So just want to say thank you to everybody for rescheduling for tonight. I got a new job, which is exciting, but I start tomorrow. And so I think I was the first one in who said, is there any way we can change the time? Because I'm not going to be able to make it. And I was really disappointed about that. I really wanted to be able to see the other projects and share, be able to share mine too. But aside from that, I'm really excited about the new job, and in large part, it's due to the experiences learned here at Quinnipiac in the instructional design program. They were really impressed with a lot of the knowledge that I brought to the table. A large part is because of this program. So for my project, I designed a website for home exercises for osteoporosis, with the idea being that there are a lot of people out there who have osteoporosis, and exercise is really essential to help prevent bone loss and build balance, and possibly even build new bone if exercises are done enough. So I thought it was an important resource to get out. I chose the topic because I actually have osteoporosis. I was diagnosed with osteoporosis at a pretty young age, and nobody could really figure out why, but I did. And so now I'm working with a personal trainer, and I thought that other people might find this resource helpful as well, as they begin to be able to do exercise, as they begin to do exercise and try and figure out what exercises to do, what exercises shouldn't I be doing, and again, this the website is targeted for women, ages postmenopausal women, so generally women in their late 50s, 60s, and even into their 70s, who have been diagnosed with osteoporosis. And so we took pretty carefully chose the exercises to meet that age group. Even though I'm not that age group, I still do these exercises. So this is the home page, and just a brief statement about what the website is. And then there are really 4 main pages. You can see the navigation bar across the top, and then on the home page it explains what each of these pages are. I think this website is important because the research that I've done out there on osteoporosis exercises, they're just difficult to navigate, especially when you're trying to build your exercise routine. You don't know what those exercises are going to be. You don't know how to do them well. And so and you end up scrolling forever to find, or listening to a 30-minute video, 45-minute video, and how to do these exercises. And there's not really time for you to experiment on how to do the exercises while they're explaining them. So I think the solution I came up with enables people to use any sort of device they have, a tablet, a computer, a phone, and be able to access these exercises. I did want to say that I coded the website from scratch using HTML and CSS. I took IDN 530 and used that I found in that class in order to build the site. So it's not a template or anything like that. I built it using my HTML knowledge and CSS knowledge. I definitely recommend the course to anyone who's interested in HTML and CSS. I think they did a really good job at helping you learn how to do things. That said, there were still quite a few things that I didn't know how to do and had to go out and search on the web. And I used W3 Schools. I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but I used W3 Schools quite a bit to find coding examples of how to do some of the things I didn't already know how to do. And then I also used to host my website. I did some research and I found a website called freehosting.com, and I purchased a domain, bhudnut.com. So now I have that domain, and all of this is all of this information is now web accessible. So moving on, you'll notice at the top of the page I have a navigation bar, and over anything that's a link, I've changed the color of the link when you mouse over it so it's obvious that that's the link that's going to be clicked on. 4 pages about the disease, equipment, exercises, and badges, and I'll explain in a minute what each of those pages are. Let me give you a little tour of them. So on the About the Disease page, I figure people, it's kind of a frequently asked questions page, and I answered 4 questions. What is osteoporosis? And there's 3 short paragraphs for each that answer each question. What is osteoporosis? Am I at risk? How should I take care of myself? And how to prevent bone fractures? A lot of this is really already common knowledge. I don't know how much, if people have osteoporosis, they might already know a lot about it. But I figured it would be good just to have some general information about the disease and its effects and what it does and who's at risk. And, explaining that exercise is a really good way to take care of yourself if you have osteoporosis. The equipment page. So since this is targeted to learners who are going to be exercising from home, I recommend different exercise equipment that can be purchased. And so these are the 6 pieces of equipment that I use at home that can easily be purchased off of Amazon. One of the things I did, as you scroll over an image, I changed the opacity to 50% so it's obvious that that's a link. And then if you click on any one of those, you'll actually get taken to an Amazon page, Amazon.com page, where you can purchase that equipment from. And then you can just close the page. Oh, shoot, I can't get. Close the page. It just takes you back to the page that you were on. So it opens in each of these opens a new page. I have a little paragraph up here just explaining that these links take you to Amazon. I picked the equipment based on user ratings. They had high customer ratings, and I thought they were pretty good prices for what they were. So I did a little research there in order to accommodate that need. Real meat of the website is the exercises page. So this is where users can go to actually build out a exercise routine. I tried to use color and tables to describe or to help the learner or the user understand exercises go with each table. They're kind of done by body part, but warm up and cool down is not a body part, but it's a very part of exercising. And so I have those. And then at the top of each table, I explain how many of these exercises a user is supposed to choose. I like that the way I designed it is that the user can pick and choose different exercises that they want to do, so the exercise routine doesn't have to be the same routine that they do every time. They can vary it. And so, or if they find exercises that they particularly like, they can always use those exercises. Again, each of these exercises is a link. So let me scroll down first and show you. So warm up and cool down exercises, exercises for your core. Focusing on the core is very important because it helps build balance. And one of the things I said on that about osteoporosis page is that one of the best ways to prevent bone fractures is by preventing falling. So the more you can do to build your balance, the better off you're going to be at preventing a fall. And so core exercises really help strengthen your core and help build your balance from your core out to the rest of your body. Arms exercises. A lot of these arms exercises are actually done on one leg. So again, they help build balance. So for instance, a single leg bicep curl, you're standing on one leg while you're doing the curl. Let me demonstrate. So if you go to any page, it's gonna come up with a little explanation of the exercises, how many sets to do, how many repetitions. And then I found short YouTube videos for every exercise, 1 to 2 minute videos. This one's 1 minute and 20 seconds. You probably can't hear it, I'm sure, because can you hear it? Oh, that's
No, I think it's
okay.
an option.
Yeah, it's coming through my headphones.
You can hear it, yep.
Okay. But anyway, they explain how to do that particular exercise. And so it's just a quick way that if the learner doesn't know what the exercise is, they can go and teach themselves very quickly and feasibly actually learn how to do the exercise while they're doing their workout, just by using a device of their choosing. And so each of these tables contains, each of these contains one video with a short explanation on how many sets and how many reps to do in a set for each exercise. So I've also got exercises for the legs, combination exercise, which works multiple parts of the body. Back exercises are very important because the back is one of the things that is often broken. Hips, they're in the legs exercises. There's a lot of exercises that focus in on the hips. And then wrist and ankle exercises because, again, wrist and ankles tend to be easily breakable bones when you have osteoporosis. So strengthening those is helpful as well. And that is... finally, I have a page for badges, and the badges, actually before I go there, let me say one more thing about the exercise page. Like I said, I wanted my users to be able to use different devices, and so this page, you'll notice if I squish down to I think it's 700 pixel wide, it just turns it into a long list that you can scroll down. So if you're using it on a phone or a tablet, you can access all of that information in a readily easy form to use information out of it. So I did really well with formatting the exercise page, the equipment page, and the badges page for use on a phone and tablet. I had really struggled with the home and about the disease page to get it in a good format so it fits in these in a 700 pixel wide window. So still working on that. I'll see if I can get that figured out before I actually turn it in. I don't have high hopes, so my CSS knowledge is a little limited. So the badges page then, let me go back to full screen here. I use this website called badge.com, badgelist.com, and so you can sign up for badgelist.com here, and then select that you want to be part of the home osteoporosis home workouts group, and there are badges. So then I created 9 badges after you sign up. There are 9 badges that you can earn as you are exercising. And so some of the different badges range from, okay, you did your first workout, you get a badge. Second workout, you get a badge. Do 3 workouts in one week, you can get a badge. And so some other interesting kind of fun ways for people to earn badges and help keep them motivated. So then again, if I click on any particular badge, it's going to take me to that page on badgelist.com, and you have to to get the badge, you have to type in a little bit of information about what you did to earn the badge. And so here my explanation says I want you to post the date and time that you worked out. And then I go in as the administrator, I go in and award the badge, and the badge would show up here under the badge learners, and then once I give them the badge, they become a badge expert. And so, and really that's about it. That's what I've done. It definitely took a lot finding all the YouTube videos and getting those plugged in was probably the most time consuming of everything I did. And just fooling around doing a lot of different configurations of how to design the pages to look. But the storyboarding I did really seemed to help me develop a plan on how to design and organize the website. That's it.
I think it looks awesome, Bethany. Great job.
Thank you.
So I have a couple comments. One is that
Sure.
I think it's really interesting that you use something that was sort of a need that you found yourself personally, and then built something to really fill in that need. And I think that a lot of the times some of the strongest projects that we see come out of that type of a situation where you find yourself needing something, it's not there, and then you built out kind of exactly what you probably would have hoped to find back when you had that diagnosis. So I think that's really great, and it creates a strong product. And the other thing I really want to say, and it's not to disparage anyone who used templates to build out their website. I'm guilty of it. It's so easy to go and get one of these free website builder, go to one of these sites and just have a template and manipulate it into what you want. But the fact that you built this from scratch is really impressive, and I hope everybody takes a moment to just kind of digest that, because putting in the CSS and all of every little bit of it, from the color to the mouse overs to the fact that it scrolls for different screen sizes, is a lot of work. And I think it's really impressive, and I think but it's also time well spent, because learning that stuff is a really valuable skill that can transfer, not just in instructional design, but all over the place right now, knowing how to tweak HTML and CSS code. So I applaud you for doing that. And it gives you the ability to customize things that you don't always have that freedom when we use template
Right.
sites.
Yeah,
So
well, kudos to Matt
yeah,
Polanecki, I think is his last
yep.
name. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but he did a really nice job teaching that course.
And I think also for those of you who haven't done your capstones yet, either who are here tonight or who are watching this later on, Bethany mentioned a couple times that you had to go out and learn some new things.
Hmm.
You came to the capstone with all of the things you had learned in the previous classes, but also with a couple ideas of things you wish you knew a little more about. So the badging and working with the CSS. And I think that the course itself gives you some space to learn any little things you want to do to put these final pieces together. And I think you're a great example of that. And you did a great job of showcasing that. So
Thank you.
yeah, it's great. Like I said, that my biggest compliments are just building this thing from scratch. I think it looks great. It's easy to navigate. I love that it's accessible on devices because I do think more and more people are using a tablet or a phone when they're trying to watch these types of videos where you're watching a video but you're trying to simultaneously do the thing
Right,
in the
right.
video. And I also like the amount of content. I think this is great for anyone who maybe just is learning about osteoporosis and wants to learn some exercises. You have all of the steps in there to help them understand a little bit about it, understand some of the equipment they might need, understand the types of exercises, but also someone who's, been dealing with this for years could come in and just dip in and say, I need some exercises for my back, and quickly find that and get right to that content. So I think you have a nice balance there of meeting some different needs of users. So really great job.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thanks. Woohoo.
Woohoo! All right, Allie, you are up if you are, I see you.
Hi. Should I share my screen or at least try?
Absolutely.
Right. Share entire screen.
There's some comments too, Bethany, for you if you want to go through the chat. It looks like
Okay.
people left some comments. All right, Allie, you are up.
Can everybody see me and my screen all right?
I can see your screen. I can't see you.
Oh, okay. Weird.
You disappeared. I don't know why. You were here. I did see you, but I don't.
Is that maybe it's because I
It's
shared my entire screen? Can I?
Yeah, it's not a problem. So if you want to,
Okay.
unless you really wanted to be on camera.
Nope, I'm okay with that.
All right. You're good.
So one of the things that I've really loved about this program is that every project I've done, I've been able to tailor to my actual life and my actual career. I'm a middle school science teacher, and the inspiration for my project was actually a course I currently teach, which is an 8-week introduction to the human body course, which I sort of inherited from a previous teacher and never really liked. So I'm taking inspiration from that and using this as an opportunity to create something I actually plan to try to use in September. It is not a website. This is designed using Google Slides. And in fact, my entire project is focusing on using Google Apps for Education because we are a Google district, so everything is free to students. The themselves come with a certain amount of familiarity with the products, and it's something that we use regularly. So this would be what the students see when they would first open the module, which would be pushed out to them through a Google Classroom page. And I have links here, one to the module instructions, and after some suggestions, I also included a link to the Human Body Choice Board. So if you click, you're taken to module instructions, and it gives you a quick little welcome stream and then tells you to click the human body to learn more. And so I have a graphic here with a click me just to draw the attention. At the bottom, I also have a link to the assignment rubric and the human body systems. So if you click the human body, it opens a new tab, which I agree with some of my other colleagues is a very important feature. And it brings you to a page of general guidelines for the module. In my presentation a few weeks ago at sort of that share session, this was thought to be a video. And when I started mapping out the video, it started to get long. And I didn't think the length was appropriate for my audience. A couple of comments were also about the incorporation of resources for ELL students. And one of the great things about Google products is once you have something, although not perfect, it would be very easy for me to translate this entire document into a different language with embedded Google tools. So for example, if in my class I have a student who's sort of an ELL1, meaning no English whatsoever, I could translate into their native language for easy accessibility. I also thought that a text format would allow me to embed links like to the rubric or to the student tracker or to Google Classroom to sort of make things more accessible. It would also allow me to project it and have it sort of hovering in the front of the classroom as students work independently. These are the things that a video couldn't provide me, which is why I ended up with a guidelines page. So it kind of gives a quick overview that the class is 8 weeks, that they're going to learn about 5 sort of systems in the human body: circulatory, respiratory, digestive, nervous, and musculoskeletal. They're going to have to complete 3 assignments for each system: structure, function, and interconnectivity, which means they'll complete a total of 15 projects by the end of the course. It then shows that each project will be graded based on the same rubric. And it then gives some brief, very fluid, meant to be pared down expectations for the assignments. The reason being that I didn't want to lock the students into thinking that if they gave me a great 2-minute video, that wouldn't be okay, because I wanted to leave it enough open to be able to modify on the fly for students who needed more or less rigor, more or less time, more or less structure, all of that kind of stuff, which is why I also included an independent but collaborative setting. The whole idea is that although they're working independently, they can post a link in Google Classroom, they can send private comments, they can post something in the stream, they can ask me for assistance, and that everything is essentially negotiable, for lack of a better word. I also included a student tracker, which will be open for all students to edit. There were some suggestions that I possibly consider hiding some of the student tabs, or possibly only having 1 page per student, so that if they were actually to delete each other's work, that it wouldn't become this whole big mess of an interaction between 8th graders. And I chose not to do that because there is something called version history in all Google products, so you can always bring back a past version of something. So even if something got deleted in Google, it's really never gone. And additionally, I wanted some sort of positive peer pressure. Since it is an independently paced module, I wanted the students to be able to kind of positively see where others are and maybe feel like, oh, I've got to pick up the pace a little bit. And I also wanted them to see like, oh, Mary's working on the circulatory system too. Maybe Mary has some resources because I'm feeling stuck, to also promote some of that collaboration in it as well. And also, if work does get deleted, or if somebody starts to, you know, for lack of a better phrase, mess with another student's tracker, to me, that's also an opportunity for a teachable moment about how we respect each other's work, how we collaborate on a shared platform, which to me is definitely a 21st century skill, and have those kinds of conversations with students too. So the tracker is pretty simple. I've pre-filled fields so it makes it easier for students. So they just have to click the date. I've inserted drop-down menus to give me an idea of what system they're already on. Keeps them on pace with simple questions of like, what did you accomplish? What's your goal? They can insert an emoji, which will give me a quick look at how they're doing, and also sort of check boxes so as they finish something, they can check it off so they know where they're at. If you then go to the Human Body Choice Board, it'll show you sort of the systems that the students can navigate towards. And I also gave them a chance to like, not sure where to start. Here's a quick overview video, and here's a quick website. The overview video link is a link out to YouTube. And I always use YouTube because it allows for closed captioning. It allows for translations into other languages. So it's really a great way to incorporate all students in the classroom. So let's say I want to get started. I click on the nervous system. It takes me to the nervous system page. It sort of reiterates some pared down directions. They have to complete 1 structure activity, 1 function, and 1 interdependence activity. And then I also get them started with a video, and in this case, a website. I always try and incorporate both a video and a text-based resource when I introduce something to students so that they can pick and choose whichever format works for them. The assignments, I tried to create things that would relate to middle school students. So for example, in the nervous system, they'd have to create a set of 5 trading cards for 5 structures in the brain, or a commercial for what is viewed as the least important organ. Maybe they'd have to find or write an obituary for a sensory neuron and explain why the loss of this cell affects the function of the system. I tried to make sure that there were things for students whose strengths were writing, or maybe visual creations, or perhaps they just want to try making videos. And to help them, I've also incorporated a link to digital tools, which can be found at each page. One suggestion was that I turn all of these titles into hyperlinks, which I did. So now if the students want to make a video, they could pick Powtoon, and once the page loads, this would be a hyperlink to the Powtoon site. All of the resources I have here are free or offer long enough free trials that they'd be usable in a classroom, and are all pretty user-friendly. And I've kind of sort of guided the students by categorizing them based on sort of the types of things they might be asked to do. And since everything opens at its own tab, it's really easy to click back and forth. So when I'm done with the nervous system, I could go back to the human body choice board, and I'd go from there. In the instructions, it'll say that you're going to turn in all assignments through Google Classroom. So I have a link to Google Classroom. And like I said, this module and the drop boxes will all be in a Google Classroom page. We're not supposed to show things we're not done with yet, so I haven't finished that. But each body system will have its own Dropbox, and each of the types of assignments within that body system will have its own Dropbox for links and for the students' projects. And that is my module.
Yay! It looks awesome, Allie. True confession, when I went through your screencast tour a couple weeks ago, my son was sitting with me, so he watched it. He is going to be a 7th grader, and he loved it. He was like, why don't all my teachers do this? So I think that's probably the best compliment you can get. Yeah, I think he was really taken in by just the fact that it's all digital and the design of it, but also all the really creative assignments that you designed. To help get the kids into learning these things, like making an Instagram account and videos, and all of, I think Kristen was one who commented in the chat about the differentiation, you know, giving kids choice and meeting them kind of where they are and allowing them to do things that are of interest to them. So I think from that design aspect, it's fantastic. It looks great, and I think it would be a lot of fun for students to experience. And beyond that, I also think that you really exemplify how we can use these Google tools. I think, you know, you really kicked the tires and tried to see how far you could push it with some of these different tools and creative ways to use them, which more often than not, I see a lot of teachers just kind of using them because they have to, and in sort of like a bare bones way. But you've really showed what we're capable of doing with these tools. So kudos for that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm curious, is there a way that students can see each other's final projects?
Currently, not necessarily.
Okay.
I hadn't thought about that, honestly. For me, it was about what I thought would be manageable with an 8-week period if I was asking the students to work independently. One option would be to, if we looked at sort of the student tracker, you could always, the students could embed links into their version of their tracker. I'm sorry, I think I have lost the Zoom meeting like 5 times. I don't know if you can hear me or not, or see me, or
we can hear you.
Okay. But I mean, Google Sheets, they could embed links to their final projects. We could have the last few days where each student picks what they think is their best project at the end of the marking period, and they could present what they think is their best project. It'd be very easy to do a gallery walk at some point where the students could show off their work. But I didn't want the students to be locked into any sort of prescribed course of action. So I know some students will pick the respiratory system because it's the first one on the left, and then do everything in the respiratory system, and then they'll move to musculoskeletal because it's the next one on the left. And then I have some students who'll be like, I just want to do all the structure first, and then I just want to do all of this first. So then I didn't quite know how to incorporate sort of a show and tell.
Oh, okay.
Unless I sort of made the end of the course an opportunity over the last 3-4 days to sort of show off student work.
Cool. Very good. Yeah, I think this is a great resource. What a neat way for students to get to learn about the different systems of the body.
Thank you.
I like the things that they are creating are sort of products also. Those are things that they can carry with them through their school career or show off to different people how they can do some of these different skills, like you said, making a video or social media accounts. So I think that's cool, you know, similar to how our class is giving you an end product that you can show off. And then I also had written down a comment about the instructions page. I agree with you. I really do like video and sort of the personal feeling that it can give to introduce a course or a website or a tool. But to me, for all the reasons you stated, I think you made the right choice in going with a document. You know, the fact that it's accessible, that it can be translated, that you can easily edit it. You know, if you decide next year, you know what, 15 projects was too many, I just want students to complete 12, instead of having to go through and edit an entire video, now you're just making a quick tweak right in this document. So I think that sometimes it's better to go with the sort of low-tech solution, can be the better solution for students. So I think you made the right choice with putting this as a text document.
Thank you. And that's actually one of the reasons why I didn't use a Google site, but rather Google Slides, because they're faster to edit. So once you have a sort of a template program, if you want to say, which my base program would be, if I have, you know, a student who's coming into my general education classroom who spends the majority of their time in replacement classes, it's very quick and easy to make a copy of that module with all the hyperlinks and quickly modify the instructions to pick one, to pick two, to pick only one body system, and then put in Google Classroom that allows me to share that out to that individual student so that they are the ones who see those modifications, and everybody seems like they're working on the same thing, and yet all students are able to participate at whatever level they're at.
Yep. Awesome.
Thank you.
I think it's great. Have you shown it to any students yet? Have you had a chance to do that?
I have not yet. I was actually thinking of piloting it in September.
Yeah,
and
cool.
See how it goes. It's sort of one of those classes in my district that is an additional, and we're allowed to make it whatever we want. And I thought it'd be a great opportunity to sort of see if the kids respond to this, see if it's too ambitious for an 8-week period, and sort of go from there.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. I like I said, really real feedback from my son that he thought it was really cool. So I think you will get positive feedback, and I think it is a great model for other teachers. I think it can be adapted to other, you know, content areas and other types of classes. So great work.
Thank you.
All three of you, really, the presentations were great. Do you have any other comments? I know the same thing for you, Allie. Check the chat because I think people were I wasn't keeping up with it, so hopefully no one had an emergency that they needed my help. But thank you guys so much for these presentations. Congratulations on being just about done. There is this week, I think there might be a flip grid. There's definitely like a little reflection on the discussion board, and then you have to submit your link to your site, and if it needs a password or anything like that, just send that along with your submission. But for the most part, I mean, you guys did the bulk of the work and you're done. So congratulations, and thank you for these great presentations tonight.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Everybody else.
Yeah, thank you everybody who came out on a Sunday night to support these guys too. I appreciate. I see Amanda, Susan, Belinda, and John, and I know that Chris was here earlier. So thank you guys for coming out and being giving these guys an audience. So have a great rest of your night. And if anyone, my Capstone people have questions or anything, shoot them off to me. And great job. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Bye.